Please welcome Jonah.
Jews don't believe in Santa Claus, but I believed in the Tooth Fairy. From a very young age, it was apparent to me that Santa Claus was not real. Santa Claus did not exist. And I remember having a conversation with a kid, and I was around 5 years old at the time, and I was at summer camp, and I said to this kid, you know, Santa Claus doesn't exist. He's not real. Yes, I did admit to a 5-year-old that Santa Claus does not exist. But he proved me wrong. He said, no, I was with my friends, and we were together, and we stayed up all night. And we only slept for like an hour, and then in the morning, all the gifts were there. So Santa Claus doesn't exist. And I turned to him and I said, okay, you're right. Santa Claus doesn't exist. And I remember being a 10-year-old on my way back from soccer practice, and I remember rolling down the window, and we were by the big church near my house, and I shouted out the window, Santa's not real, Santa's not real, it's all a lie. And my twin brother was there, and we were laughing. But my 5-year-old self believed in the Tooth Fairy. And I remember this one day at my old elementary school in this big, long hallway, and I saw my twin brother with this sad look on his face. And I went up to him, and I was like, what's up? Why are you sad? And he said, I lost my tooth. And what he really meant to say was he lost his physical tooth. Like he didn't know where his tooth was. And he was worried that he was going to go home, and then he was going to put his tooth, and it wasn't there, and the tooth fairy wasn't going to come. And so my mom picked us up from school, and she had a plan after hearing the deeply terrible news that he lost his physical tooth, and they wrote together a letter to the Tooth Fairy saying that he lost his tooth and that he didn't know where it was. And I remember the next day he got the money, and a letter came back from the Tooth Fairy, a typed letter. And I think that was the moment, I mean, I was in kindergarten, but I think that was the moment where I started to question this belief that I had in the Tooth Fairy. Because how could the Tooth Fairy write a letter and type it, nonetheless? So we fast forward a couple of years, and I'm around 4th grade. And I'm in gym class, and it was right around the time before they banned dodgeball in New Jersey. And I remember I threw the ball, and I remember catching the ball. My tooth was really loose at the time, and it fell out. And so I picked it up, and I went to the bathroom, and I wrapped it in like a paper towel so I could save it for later to put under the pillow so the Tooth Fairy would come. But when I was in the bathroom, I just had this moment of realization, and I said, wait. I don't know if the Tooth Fairy exists, and I need to test this. I don't know why, but 4th grade me said, I need to test if the Tooth Fairy exists. And so for the rest of the day, I hid my lost tooth, and it was like a front tooth, from everyone, from my friends, from my twin brother, and even from my parents. And I remember that I was at dance class, and I had to like hide my tooth while I was dancing. So I was dancing like, you know, and doing my thing. And you know, I got home and we had family dinner, and I just remember eating was a struggle because I was like chewing and like simultaneously hiding my tooth because I like didn't want to be exposed because I had this secret. And the day went on, and I went throughout the night, and I put my tooth under my pillow, and the next morning, the Tooth Fairy didn't come. And so I went to go interrogate my dad. And so I went up to my dad and I said, there's no Tooth Fairy. I hid my tooth from you all day, and you didn't know, and the Tooth Fairy didn't come, so the Tooth Fairy doesn't exist. And my rabbi father said to me, oh, no. The Tooth Fairy, she was watching Monday Night Football. She had other things she was worried about. Don't worry, she'll come. And I was like, no, the Tooth Fairy doesn't exist. I've had this thought for the last couple of years, ever since that typed letter came in the mail. And I was like, there's no Tooth Fairy. And when I look back on this story, I think to myself, you know, was I just an obnoxious kid? Was I just being a wise ass? But I don't think that's the real answer, because Judaism teaches us to question and to ask questions. And so part of me thinks it was my Jewish intuition. But I think what we can really take from this story is that we live in this world right now of fake news and alternative facts. And so maybe it's important to ask questions and to seek truth and to learn. And while Jews don't believe in Santa Claus, I believed in the Tooth Fairy. Thank you.